Well, for 34 years we have celebrated World Youth Day. Obviously, it has been one of the most important events for young people in the history of the church in the last 40 years. It has changed people's lives. It has gathered people from all parts of the world, and together they give courage and energy to each other when they gather there as young people. I always remember the words of the prophet Joel. Old men dream dreams, but young men see visions, and many will say, why not? I think young people are the solution to many of the world crises today. And my hope, and I know that Pope Francis will bring courage to the young people. He will also bring a great desire for them to participate in the life of the world and to make changes. Just like the theme of World Youth Day this year is about Mary. So important in the life of Central and all of Latin America. And Mary was a young woman in Palestine at that time. And yet she received the courage to change the world. And the world has never been the same because she said, here I am, do whatever you want with me. And that's the message I think that the Pope will bring. He will bring it that those words that angel spoke on behalf of God to that young woman are spoken every day to the young people of the world. They are the solution. They have the answers. They have the vision of how we can make our world a little better. And so to me, I see World Youth Day coming as a continuation of what we did in the Synod. If you remember, and I'm sure many of the young people, we had a pre-Synod of young people. Over 300 young people gathered. They spoke, they listened, they proposed many different things. That document that they published was then given to the Synod of Bishops, where the bishops came. But it wasn't just this year a Synod of Bishops. A matter of fact, for those of us who had the grace, the privilege of being in that Synod, when somebody said something and the young people weren't very enthused, there was silence. But when somebody, some bishop would speak and said something that they liked or they approved of, they would let it be known. They also had opportunities to speak. To me, this is the beginning. This World Youth Day is the beginning of a change within the church. Some people say, well, World Youth Day is getting old. Well, it's not getting old. World Youth Day will always be around. Perhaps some aspects of it need to be adjusted. And that's what happened at the Synod. And now it is a new beginning. And I would hope that all young people who can participate in Panama, who will be present when the Holy Father goes to Panama. You know, this is the first time a Pope has gone since 1983 to Central America. And so we expect great things from, and this is the 34th year of World Youth Day. World Youth Day has provided great success and important changes to the life of the church, and it will continue to do so. We do, as I said a few moments ago, we had listened to the young people in the Synod. We've listened to the bishops. Now we must implement. And that will not take place just at the World Youth Day gathering in Panama. That will depend on the young people going from Panama, returning home with that message to take courage. You have found favor with God. God is with you. Let's move on and change the world. Of course, they are an inspiration. It's not that they could be. They are an inspiration for the church. Why? Because old people, old like myself, we may have a lot of experience. We may have accumulated knowledge over the years, but the courage and enthusiasm and the willingness to get out there and do something, that is something that is part of the nature of young people. The challenge, they love the challenge, and they love, whereas we like to examine every possibility before we make a step forward. They don't. They have courage, they know that God is with them, and look how many young people volunteer. Never before in the history of the world, not just here in Europe, or not just in America, or Asia, or Africa, but young people all over the world they are the backbone, they are the ones, they are the engine that moves society. And that's what we hope we will do and continue to do in World Youth Day. Yes, it is something that needs to be rediscovered. It is something, Mary is the perfect example of an apostle. She heard the word of God through an angel who told her to do not be afraid, take courage. She didn't know what the future held. She had no idea. But she forged ahead and did what she discerned to be the most appropriate way to act and to realize the vision of God. And young people are particularly equipped and have the qualities, the energy, and the courage to do that also. Mary, we need to listen to what the angel said to her. We need to think of the difficulties that were, for her, almost insurmountable. You can imagine what the people in the village thought when she was found pregnant. Tiny little village. Everybody knew everybody else's business. She did not fear because she had found favor in God and she moved ahead. We will find many obstacles in life, but we must always remember God is with us. We have found favor with God. God is on our side. Let us not be fearful. Let us just forge ahead. But let us discern and let us think through how we're going to do this. But yet, to me, the most important thing to understand about young people is they are the ones who have the energy, the desire, and the will to change the world. Look around us today. We live in a tired world. We no longer communicate with each other. But young people, they're constantly communicating. They're constantly out there talking, instilling new ideas. That's what World Youth Day does. I think that the people of Central America live in a very difficult time. They are struggling once again with many different ideological ideas And yet, the young people, they do want to improve. They do want to live a better world. They no longer want to suffer the consequences of violence, the consequences of hatred, the consequences of lack of love and care and compassion and understanding for each other. The great thing is two things, I would say. Number one, they are people of great courage. I think of the world today, and I think of the wave of immigration. They no longer are content to live under violence and hatred, and they seek and they want to find a better place. Once they find that better place, they learn, and then they can transform and change their own lives and their own society. And that is one great lesson that we can learn from the people, the young people in Central America. I believe that they have the courage to get up, to leave everything, as Mary did and Joseph did, up and left everything. Went to a faraway country maybe, perhaps, and then came back home again. A different family. And that is one of the lessons I hope we will all learn from the people of Central America. I would hope that we would learn from the young people of Central America their willingness, their deep sense of faith, because they see without God they are nothing and they have nothing. Perhaps in some parts of the world we don't experience that as much as those people do, as many people do in Central America. They see that without God they are nothing. And that is one lesson that is important for all of us to learn. So I believe that World Youth Day is something that will help us all, not just the young people, but all people, to listen to the Word of God, to think through or to discern what the Word of God is saying to us in every aspect and every moment of our lives. And above all, to listen to the words that we must love and care for each other. Perhaps the greatest sin of our modern world is individualism, isolationism, materialism. They produce a lack of concern or understanding for those who are on our left and those who are on our right. And what we need in the world today is a greater respect, love, compassion, understanding for each other. We are all in this world together, whether we like it or not. And improving it for some is improving it for many. And young people, I see young people with the vision and the courage and the generosity to give their lives and do something to change. Of course. That's why Pope Francis has changed the whole process of the Synod. He wanted to listen to young people. And what did he do? When we had the pre-Synod, he arrived at 9:30 in the morning to the pre-Synod. And he sat there all day. He had lunch with them. He walked around, he talked with them. He laughed, he joked. He listened. And then he received that document, and he was the one that at the Synod, and I remember it well, on the second day of the Synod, when he said, "Oh, the young people are there and they're very quiet." Well, that was You know, why don't they speak? He was the one that invited them in the afternoon on the second day when the bishops were all talking, and then there's free for all. You know, you can stand up and say inter-dialogue. And he wanted to hear what the young people had to say. And he's the one that asked them the question, what do you think? And many of them spoke. And many of them, I think all of the ones who were there were about 30 or 40 of them. I don't know the exact number, but... And they used to mix with us, you know, at the coffee break. We were all there together for a whole month. And so I think that's change. And that's inspiration. And that's listening to the reality. Not the reality that I may have in my mind, but the reality of the young people who every day struggle through life. So, yes, we do need to listen to them. We need to listen to all people, but we do need to listen to the young people, and we do not necessarily have to impose our way of being on the young people. We have to naturally, there are certain guidelines, shall we say, you know, for moral conduct that are applied to every human being, but yet they have the ideas. They have what works, what doesn't work, what is attractive to people and what is not attractive to young people. So yes, we must listen, we must learn, and we must forge ahead.